Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Event Industry News podcast. My name is James Dickson, wishing all of our podcast followers a very good morning, afternoon or evening to all of you, wherever you're tuning in from today. Today's podcast is brought to you by our brand new sponsor for 2018, Engage, powered by D2I Systems, winner of Best Event Management Platform at the 2017 Event Technology Awards. To learn how Engage can make your business more profitable, visit d2isystems.com/engage. On that note, don't forget to stay up to date with all the latest content on eventindustrynews.com by downloading the new Event Industry News app, available for all the major mobile devices. So today's episode, and an exciting one and a little bit of a different one. Perhaps you may call it a departure from what we are used to talking about on the podcast quite regularly. So let's put it into some context. A major global brand was spending loads of time organising complex golfing trips, causing them to miss out on the actual purpose of the events, which was the business networking and the playing of the golf. They wanted somebody to take the busy work out of their hands so they could focus on networking with their clients. And today, the podcast welcomes Michael Chamberlain, founder and director of Clubs Away, a company set up to do exactly that: organise and run high-end business golf events that allow their clients to spend more time enjoying that experience and networking with their own clients. Michael, thanks very much for joining the podcast.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me.
This sounds like a fascinating idea, like many of the best ideas and the stuff that really works well in what is a really competitive marketplace in the events industry. People find niches, they find real sort of specialist areas to work in that maybe mix several skills that they've already got in existing contacts to find a business model. This looks very much like something that you guys have done. Give us a bit of a background as to how the company started, first of all.
Yeah, sure. The company sort of started a little bit by accident, if I'm totally honest with you. I was teaching golf at the time at my own golf academy, and a client of mine who works for a major brand, he was sales director level, and he said, Michael, do you mind if I ask if you do golf trips? And I'd done a couple in the past with some clients, just coaching them and taking them to Portugal and what have you, but I'd never done a corporate one before. And anyway, after asking him a few questions, he said, I take a couple of clients away every year, and it's designed to sort of do my pre-book for the year, effectively, to which he sort of generally had £500,000 worth of sales on. And he said, why don't you organise the whole thing for me, come on the trip, do some golf instruction with the guys and see if we can mix it up a little bit. So I did exactly that, organised the whole trip, the transport, the golf, the accommodation, and delivered the instruction. And basically, upon coming back, he was brought into his boss's office, and his boss said, what went on the trip? And he said, it went perfectly. It was good. And he said, I know it went good. You've done £1.7 million worth of sales. And he said, what was different? And he sort of said, well, Michael was the difference. He organised the whole trip, which allowed me to spend all my time with my clients, all the sort of restaurant bookings, taxi bookings, any sort of issues that came up with the golf subject as well. And then the second part of it was the golf instruction element, where I would, do a golf tuition clinic in the morning before we went out to play. It actually got them playing better golf. So it actually allowed them to basically get in a better mood to have a sales conversation, basically, and for that sales director to build up a better relationship with his clients and get to know a little bit more about what they needed for the year ahead. So that particular company was what started Clubs Away off, and needless to say, we had every salesman from that company giving us a call with asking us to do the trip. So that's how the company got started, basically.
And as I said, like many of the great ideas, not just in the events industry, but in business in general, you often hear stories about businesses starting by accident, an opportune moment, something that came about, by accident or unexpectedly, that you think, actually, there's a seed of an idea here. Now, the idea of corporate golf days and doing business on the golf course, of course, is nothing new at all. People are doing business on the golf course since golf was created, almost. But in an industry like the events industry, where so much of it is data driven, it surprises me in some respects that people haven't looked into the data side of it in a bit more detail and realize, actually, if I could spend 60 minutes more with every client that I'm inviting on this trip, how much more business would I do? And I suppose if you want to become really analytical about it, that's what you're doing, isn't it? Is it you're freeing up the time that would otherwise be spent doing menial little jobs like restaurant reservations and
it's exactly, and it has an absolute huge effect on because, let's face it, the sort of premise of business these days, whether we like it or not, is done through relationships. It's yes, there's the product or service side to it, and then there's the brand and the values that it has. But if the consumer doesn't have a relationship with someone within the company, and a good one, that will affect business performance. And that's exactly what we try to do in all the golf events that we organise, all the golf holidays that we organise, and subsequently conferences, product launches, and all the stuff that we've diversified into now. We are really sort of pulling back the skin of it all, if you like, and looking further into what can make an event better and how it can improve a business's performance.
In terms of your own skills, you are a PGA professional.
Yes.
So golf is your sort of major skill. How easy did the organisation of an event or the organisation of a trip come to you? Was there much that you had to learn, or did you find it was something that you took to quite naturally?
Massively. It has been a massive learning curve, especially with all the legislation that comes with something like travel, for example, with all the atoll insurances and APTA, aspects of it and what have you. But I was a duck in water for a little bit, really. Just learning about the various aspects of the event industry and how to deliver a golf event. Coordinating with the venue, food choices, beverage choices. I had to learn all that stuff from scratch. And then, the sort of travel element as well, where we deliver handpicked holidays to golf destinations. All that side, like I said, the transport and coordination with hotels and golf, I had to learn from scratch.
A lot of event organisers will, one of the biggest constraints is often budget. When agencies or freelance event organisers are asked to organise meetings or conferences or awards events, the end client is often squeezing the budget as much as they can, and often they're cut and they're reduced. Just given the nature of what it is you do and the nature of the guys who are out and the ladies who are going out to do business on the golf course, are you in a more of a fortunate position whereby the types of client that you're working with do have a good budget to spend on even entertaining sort of trips like this?
No, not necessarily, to be honest. I think issues like Brexit has really sort of tightened up companies. But even the big companies that we work with, we work with some businesses within the sort of FTSE 500, and it's amazing how something like Brexit forced them to freeze budgets even, and these are organisations with a lot of money behind them. Ultimately, what we've actually found is that the companies that you would expect to be spending a lot of money in this area are actually freezing any sort of budget for corporate hospitality or anything like that. But your small, medium-sized organisations are actually starting to invest again now.
Mhm.
which is great for us, because ultimately you can do what we provide on any budget. Of course, it's going to, affect how many people you have there, or but we sell packages for as little as £500 even. So if it's just a CEO wanting to take 3 of his clients out onto the golf course just to say thank you at the end of the year for your business, we provide those sorts of packages. So ultimately we have something for everybody. Ultimately, it's not something that needs to be restricted by what budget you have.
Sure.
It just will sort of reduce the amount that you can do. Ultimately, it's like anything.
And I guess that those packages and the services that you offer, the individual elements will vary as well. There are things that you can add on as add-ons, or things that people don't necessarily have to have. So is there an element where it can be as sort of as simple or as complex as a client wishes to make it, in terms of the bells and whistles that you can put onto an event?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll give you a little example. I mean, the example that I just used, it could be a 4-ball, say, at the Grove in Watford, or you could have a golf event for 100 people, and Clubs Away can do all your invitations for you. It can do end-to-end event management, where we coordinate all the venue and everything that you bring outside of it. You can have a trick shot show at the golf event. You can have a golf simulator. You can do sort of branding, where you put all your banners up, little gift bags for the people that are coming to the event, some golf instruction as well. Yeah, the sky's the limit in terms of the things that we can provide.
Do you ever have the scenario, and have you come across a scenario where you've been asked to deliver your specific service alongside a larger event that maybe an agency or the company are organising? So they might have a major 2-day conference for a company. Do they ever sort of maybe tab on a golf day with that? Have you ever worked alongside other agencies that are delivering other events, but ultimately for the same client?
Yeah, very, very much so. One client that we had, we were actually approached by the event agency that was running their conference, and they said, the day after the conference, they want to run a big golf day, part staff, part clients, and yeah, they outsourced it all to us, and we would, we would go and see the client direct with the event agency that was managing the event, and we partnered with them on delivering the specific outcomes that they wanted.
And I guess that's the beauty, going back to what I mentioned quite early on, of having that real niche, that particular focus of a service that you guys deliver, is that you're not in competition with the other event agency. They do what they do, but they don't have the experience or the contacts or the skills to do what you do, which is so specific. Have you also had to work hard on developing your own portfolio of contacts? And I mean, right down to the actual golf courses themselves. Presumably you must have to have a good network and good contacts with them, and able to be able to source the packages and the tee times in some of the more prestigious clubs.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's been one of the biggest challenges, to be honest, in my business. Obviously, when you're setting up an event specific business, it's, before you actually get noticed, you actually have to start delivering revenue to a particular resort before you get any preferential treatment. So, what we've done is we've been quite particular in the resorts and the venues that we work with, in order for us to be able to, get those special treatments that, we get, like, preferential tee times, special rates, etc. And that's how we work really hard on developing relationships with our resorts to get the best pricing and to get the best experience.
Absolutely, because I guess your clients will come to you, and sometimes if they are seasoned golfers and corporate golf has been part of their business activity for many years, they will perhaps have favorite courses, certain clubs that they have either a liking for, an affiliation to, that they want to try and continue that with. And I guess sometimes if that's maybe not on your portfolio, you have to work hard to get in there.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, very, very much so. But I will say this: generally, the venues, or I mean, we are we've been going 3 years now, so people, resorts, venues are looking at us and starting to approach us now because we are getting more popular, and our presence and our presence on online social media seems to be getting ever more popular. They are sort of quite eager to work with us now. So there's that, we're sort of meeting halfway now, where they are working with us, we're working with them a little bit, and there's that sort of give and take. And we do generally find 9 times out of 10 that the venue are trying to help us develop as a business, and that's really important, because we couldn't ultimately do what we do without them, and they wouldn't deliver as much business as without us. So ultimately, it's a partnership.
Sure.
And hopefully most of them see it like that.
I guess that the demands must be frequent and varied that you're getting from clients in terms of what they would like incorporated into their golf days. Do you have anything or any scenarios where you thought, well, I've never come across that before? Have you pretty much seen it all now, or have there been some surprises thrown at you in the last 3 years?
I always get surprises, to be honest. There was... recently, there was a golf holiday, again, a major company going out to the south of France, and they wanted to hire a luxury yacht for the day and go fishing, and quite never heard of that before. All sorts of weird and wonderful things. People are starting to request the luxuries of helicopters and private jets.
Wow.
And can we get a helicopter from the hotel to the golf course, for example? Can you get us into this, Michelin-starred restaurant? We've tried, but we haven't been able to. All sorts of requests on, like that. Really, it's never ending.
Has this become your main focus as a person now, this particular business? Because as a PGA golf professional, presumably you must want that there's a natural desire in you to be out on the course, or to be on the practice ground, and to be working with clients in a coaching capacity, and to be playing yourself. How difficult has it been to sort of balance the development of this business and your own sort of maybe personal desire to maintain the game?
I'll admit I probably lost my golfing ability for a few years, especially in the first few years that I was trying to sort of develop the business. And as we have got busier, and the demand has got higher for a PGA professional going on the actual holiday, as a consequence to that, I'm playing a lot more golf. So I'm on the practice ground with the guys in Portugal, teaching them, hitting shots, and they actually want me to go out and play with them because they want to see a golf professional hit a golf ball. So it actually forced me to go out and work on my game a little bit, because it was a little bit embarrassing, to say the least, when I was a golf pro going on a trip and I couldn't hit it very straight. So I do have to work hard to get that balance, admittedly, and make time to work on my game. But I love what I do. I am very, very lucky that I get to travel the world, doing what I do and playing golf on the finest golf courses with great people.
And has the growth of the business been organic? It strikes me that is the case, that this is the sort of business that would grow through word of mouth, and the very nature of the clients that it's serving and the service that it is delivering is people doing business by meeting each other and shaking hands and spending time. So has a lot of it just grown through word of mouth?
All of it has grown through word of mouth. We all our business up to now has been through referrals. which has been great for us. So, you know, if a company runs a trip and it invites its clients along, one of those guys, you know, at least one, maybe 2, 3 out of the group will ask me about doing a trip for their company, and it sort of works down the line, really. So the company up to now has been very organic in its growth, to the point where we've been able to invest in a sales director to take the business onto the next level now. But yeah, a large chunk of our business is done through referrals.
When a business does grow organically like that, undoubtedly there is still a plan there for you as a business, but without the structure maybe of going out and doing marketing campaigns or trade shows or anything like that, and seeking the business, have you had to adapt quite quickly as the business has grown organically, where you might work from month to month and find, crikey, I've got twice as many clients this month than I had this time last month. I wasn't quite expecting that.
Yeah, it's been quite scary at times trying to adjust, because I mean, ultimately I've gone from being a golf professional to I guess a managing director, if you like, of managing a business and bringing in other PGA pros to deliver the trips on my behalf. You know, I never envisaged that it would get to a point where I'd be pulling in another, 2, 3 PGA professionals in order to do the trips and the events for me. So that has been, very, very challenging and very eye-opening. And, the other things that go along with managing a business that is growing very quickly, such as, cash flow and, general sort of operations and all that sort of stuff. It's very interesting. And yeah, I have had to adapt quite a bit in order to I guess, see the company maintains its growth, really, because it's, it is a challenging aspect of running a business.
And go back to what you mentioned then just now about bringing in other PGA professionals to help deliver some of the events. I guess there comes a point in your growth as a company where you are presented with a scenario of dates clashing, and you're already booked to go on one event, and an inquiry comes in from another client to say, can you do something for us on this date? And I suppose then you're presented with 2 pathways. Do you keep it all yourself and do you turn away that business, or do you think, do I entrust that to somebody else to deliver on my behalf? And how do I do that? Was it a long decision in order to when you were first presented with that scenario, to decide, do you know what, I'm going to get somebody else in, see if the client's happy with that, and go down the route of offering that wider service?
It was quite an easy decision, to be honest, James. I'm very lucky. I've got, a couple of, good friends who are PGA pros who actually understand what I'm trying to do. And they're actually as passionate as what I am about going out there and delivering not only a great trip, but also improving the performance of the business that is using our services. So they get it instantly. And, any PGA professional that comes into the Clubs Away family gets some training on, how to deliver certain aspects of the trip. They are ultimately sort of trained on how to understand the brand and the company and the people that they are working with, and how to add those little bits and create that environment that will ultimately improve that company's performance.
And do you see that will get wider? And forgive the sort of ruthlessness of the question, but I hope I'm right in saying that there may be a misconception that when somebody says, oh, I'm a professional golfer, that people will naturally assume that you're driving around in Ferraris all the time and you have 4 holiday properties in the Caribbean, in order to provide a waypoint between your international tournaments. Golf professionals who work day to day in golf clubs around the UK and around the world far outnumber the rich professionals that we see on TV, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So has this been a welcome, revenue stream, if I can call it that, for you as well, and the other guys that you're bringing into this as a way of sort of supplementing their day-to-day income as golf professionals?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, this is my full-time job. So I guess initially I found it very difficult because I gave up a very good job to start Clubs Away. I believed in it that much. So I guess I've been through the financial struggles that it's presented along the way. Getting to the end of the month and having zero money to pay me a salary. But like you say, the perception is amongst everyone that, oh, you're flying off to Portugal, you're going to America, you're at 5-star resorts in England and all that sort of stuff. The perception is that I'm some sort of rich kid who's absolutely doing well, driving in a Ferrari and all that sort of stuff. That isn't the case. The people that I bring into the business, that they're not full-time in Clubs Away. But yeah, they have definitely seen it as an added income stream and a welcome one, all being well. And I think they enjoy it. I like to think that they do anyway. And their passion is the same as the business values that Clubs Away has. It all comes back down to the power of play, if you like, and how the power of play can improve your business performance.
Mm-hmm. The uniqueness of golf in this context, as I see it, is that it's a hugely popular amateur sport by people who just play on a casual basis, and also it's a sport that you can do business at the same time whilst playing.
Yes.
The 4 hours or so of playing 18 holes of golf, there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of walking, there's a lot of time to do that conversation. Do you see Clubs Away expanding at all to be not just golf? Are there other sports that you think would be applicable for people to be able to go and do a bit of business and, for an event of this type of to actually be formed around other sports?
At the moment, we're not venturing into other sports and don't have any sort of plans to do so. Golf is very unique in how in the opportunities that it creates for the people that play it, and especially at a corporate level. Mm-hmm. So in no other environment will a corporate, let's say a sales director, going out to see a potential client. In no other environment would they get the opportunity to spend 4 or 5 hours with that potential client, talk business, but also get to know them on a personal level. Mm-hmm. And then there's the other side of it, of the opportunity of what golf can tell you about the particular person that you're doing business with, right? So, for example, if you're playing golf with someone and they're a potential client, and you're playing a little competition with them, and they say that they got 6 on a hole rather than the actual score, which was 9, that they're cheating. That they'll do anything to get one over on you, and the personality traits that can come as a result of playing golf goes far deeper than just going out and whacking a ball around a field, which is how it's seen at times. So you can get a real insight as to who you are doing business with. And I don't know any other sport that will open up that opportunity, ever, really. I mean, let's take the other side of corporate hospitality, where people take customers to the football or the rugby. Ultimately you're in a stand, you've probably got a few beers in hand and what have you. What can you actually say more about that client as a result of going on that day versus spending 4 or 5 hours on the golf course with them? And I think that's the unique thing about golf as a sport, is that exact sort of that exact opportunity that it provides you to get to know the person that you're playing golf with and potentially doing business with.
Absolutely, because it's very difficult for anybody that's played golf, and I am no more than a casual, occasional thrasher. It's very difficult for even the worst of golfers to not be completely themselves when they're out there, because you're concentrating, irrespective of what level you're playing at. People concentrate on it. They do pay attention to their shot, to where they are, to where they want to try and hit it. And I suppose what that does is it drops their guard on everything else, and it does give a completely honest, true reflection of the person.
Yeah, and yeah, you're exactly right. And I don't know another sport that does that. You play golf, and from a personality point of view, you are naked. You are open for everyone to see, and you can, and it does sort of expose any sort of every personality trait that you ultimately have. And people can use that, what they see, in order to determine whether they want to do business with that person, or develop, get to know them more, not get to know them anymore, and not do business with them at all ultimately. So it gives each other, it gives both parties or all parties an insight as to what that person is like.
And if you see a 7-iron sailing 15 feet over the fairway in front of you, probably best not to sign that deal with them. That may not be the person to do business with.
Yeah, you're working with someone with anger issues is the conclusion from that.
We've been talking on the podcast today to Michael Chamberlain. Michael is the founder and director of a company called Clubs Away, who have built a business organically over the last 3 years, specialising in delivering corporate trips, corporate golf days of varying sizes, but very much with the focus on taking away the organizational aspects of every single element from the people who are there to do business, taking that burden onto their own shoulders, and ultimately allowing their clients to flourish and do more business with the people that they are entertaining. Michael, thanks very much for being on the podcast today. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
And don't forget to stay up to date with all of the latest news from eventindustrynews.com by downloading the Event Industry News app. Our podcasts go out once a week, mostly pre-recorded. But as you may already be aware, we announced at the start this year that on the last Wednesday of every month, we will be broadcasting a live version of the Event Industry News podcast via the EIN Facebook page. So that's the last Wednesday of every month for our live episodes. And we're also excited to have a sponsor on board, brand new for 2018. The podcast is now brought to you by Engage, powered by D2I Systems, winner of Best Event Management Platform at the 2017 Event Technology Awards. To learn how Engage can make your business more profitable, visit d2isystems.com/engage. Thanks very much for your time today. Thank you very much again to our guest, Michael Chamberlain from Clubs Away. Michael, thanks a lot for your time. And we will see all of you again on the next episode of the Event Industry News podcast. Very good day to you.